When I think of a support network, I'm thinking of my close circle.
People who are willing to not just support you, but also steer you towards the right direction.
Actually opening up to the people that I care for, like, wow, like these are the actual people that help and give me confidence.
I was feeling like I wasn't my best self, but these people reminded me that I was doing enough.
Be yourself and the people who around you will stick.
In as much as the people around us make us feel loved, we also do put in our own efforts too to make sure that the people around us feel loved.
INCRadio podcast, we're here to hear.
Hello, podcast family, and welcome to episode 6 of our season, Turning Pages. You are tuning in to INCRadio podcast, the podcast that resonates with you. I'm your host, Angelica, and of course, I'm not alone on today's podcast episode. I am joined today by two lovely guests from the Ecclesiastical District of Alaska. So let's go ahead and say hi to them. Hi, Sister Veronica. Hi, Brother Angelo.
Hello, my name is Sister Veronica. I am from the local congregation of West Anchorage, and I'm so excited to be here today.
Everyone, I'm Brother Angelo from the local congregation of Anchorage. I'm so thankful to be here.
I'm so glad that you guys are excited to be here. And honestly, I'm so excited to hear your insights on our podcast episode today. So we're going to talk about today building a good support network. So in this podcast episode, we're going to discuss what makes a good support network as well as the benefits that having so brings. But of course, we want our podcast family to join in on the conversation too. So let's segue to our podcast episode question for today. As always, for all of our live viewers, please feel free to leave your answer in the live chat. And for those who will be viewing our lovely episode after it is aired, please feel free to share with us your response to our question at podcast@incradio.net. So for our podcast episode question for today, what strategies or experiences have you found to be most effective in building and maintaining your support network, and how have they impacted your personal or professional life? We know that that's a lengthy question, but we hope that it really gets all of our viewers really reflecting on their experiences and all the relationships that they have built over the years. Now, before we head off to our main discussion, we'd like to give our special thanks to Ka Angelo Ranyo V. Manalo, our CEBSI President and CEO. Most of all, we would like to thank our dearest Executive Minister, Ka Eduardo V. Manalo. We love you, Paul. And now, let's go ahead and get started with our discussion. So first off, when we're talking about building a good support network, we want to first start off with what is your definition of a support network? And to you, what is the most defining quality that makes it a good support network? I think we all have varying opinions on what makes a support network good. So I want to hear from the both of you. How do you define a support network? And also, what's the most important quality to you?
For me, I think a support network is a group of individuals or a community who can help you with achieving specific goals in your life, whether that be in your personal life or even in your work life.
Okay, so when I think of a support network, I'm thinking of my close circle of people who I can rely on, people who rely on me. And so what makes a good support network is when those people that I'm surrounding myself with, we share similar goals and a strong passion for the right things. And most often and most likely, my circle, we share the same faith. And when we have that, that's probably the number one thing I'm looking for in a support network, is when we all together support each other and lift each other up, not just in the things, in things we need to accomplish in this life, but especially when it comes to church, our duties, and our the things that we need to do for our spiritual wealth.
I think that's definitely a good thing to consider, right? Because sometimes when people are thinking of a support network, sometimes values aren't necessarily something that they factor in. Because personally, for me, when I think in general of a support network, not considering values, just in general, what a support network would provide, I usually think of maybe people that are around me, like family, friends, maybe even mentors, like in the professional world, like colleagues, classmates, who can offer me emotional or practical or any other type of help during in times of my need. And for me, like the most important quality, I would say, because I definitely do agree with you, Brother Angelo, that faith is really important. And it's that quality of being able to align, like having these aligned values is really important in really defining what makes a good support network. And for me, I guess just to add on to that is non-judgmental people, because I think it's important that you are surrounded by people who are genuinely willing to listen to you, people who are willing to not just support you, but also kind of steer you towards the right direction. Because sometimes when you might be expressing your problems to someone, let's just say, right, if they were to place judgment on you, then they might not be the best support for you, because they might not be genuinely interested in really helping you out or steer you towards the right direction, right? Because our good friends, let's just say, are not people who always agree with us, but they should be people who are also willing to kind of give us guidance if we're not making the right decisions. And so I think that's really important in defining what makes a good support network.
I agree with you when it comes to, finding a support or a community that helps you, especially since, your community should give you a sense of belonging. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most important factors when finding a community that fits you or a group of friends, if they keep you on track with your personal goals, whether that be with your church duties or even your
Mm-hmm.
what you said with your professional life, it's really important to surround yourself with people who are good also.
I think that, like, just going off of your answer, I think that there might be instances when we are actually surrounded by a good support network, but we might not realize it until maybe we experience moments that we
Hmm.
aren't with people who actually genuinely support us, right? And so, for the both of you, what are some of the personal experiences that you've gone through that made you realize that you do have a good support network?
I think there's been a lot of incidents where, I've been in a group of settings where I'm like, oh wow, people actually support and love me. But I think it
Mm-hmm.
was back in like COVID time. Everyone was really isolated and I didn't really have anyone and I felt really alone. And I'm not the type of person to kind of like reach out. The type of person to kind of just like
Mm-hmm.
stay in my own bubble. So I kind of, out of desperation, I reached out to my kuyas and out there, and I didn't think it would actually help me, but they helped me so much with, being confident and with, giving me advice with the struggles that I was dealing at that time. And I didn't realize until that time that I was actually talking to the people who cared about me that, like, I actually have a really great support system. Like, I've been neglecting this and actually opening up to the people that I care for. Like, wow, like, these are the actual people that help and give me confidence. Like, right now, I am so grateful that I'm here with not only like my kuya, but with someone that inspires me so much, Sister Angelica. And I'm just
Stop, you're gonna make me
really,
cry.
but yeah, that's my opinion on my support system.
I think you just sharing that. First off, thank you for sharing that, Sister Veronica. I honestly think that that's such a great thing where you were maybe not in a position where you usually open up, but because you opened up, you really discovered your good group of people. And I'm really happy that you have that good support network, because that's definitely makes life a lot easier when you're surrounded by good
Mm-hmm.
people.
Oh my gosh.
Makes life a lot happier too. How
Mm-hmm.
about you, Brother Angelo?
For me, uh, I agree. It's those moments that you have uh, when you're, for me, in my experience, when I felt, low, or when I felt like I was doubting myself. Maybe I don't feel like I was doing enough. Maybe I didn't feel like I was accomplishing enough. But then the people that were with me at the time, they were there to they really lifted me up. at times when I was super low. I was feeling like I wasn't my best self, but these people reminded me, you know, that I was doing enough and I was making progress and I was doing good things. And, you know, I wouldn't have known that if I, wasn't vulnerable and I wasn't opening up. Because usually it's hard to be vulnerable. But with that
Mm-hmm.
group of people, it was so easy to open up. And I think that that also contributes to, having those good people and having that safe environment for you to feel comfortable enough opening up.
And then I think that that's an element or a quality of having a good support network, or what defines a good support network. It's that you're able to trust them and you're able to be vulnerable around them, because I think that's really important, because having that trust and vulnerability is kind of the root of you discovering your good support network, because it all stems from
Mm-hmm.
maybe how they react or how they help you in times when you are in need. And I think for me, a personal experience that I had, and I think that as we're growing up, we're always constantly navigating, I guess, the circles of people that are around us, or our friendships, our family, right? We're getting to know the people around us, and as we grow up, maybe our circles, especially for our friends, they might change, right? And so I experienced this time. It was actually a pretty lengthy time where I was not in that great of an environment, and I think that it was really draining me emotionally and mentally. And I think sometimes for me, I'm also a very introverted person. It might not be obvious, because sometimes when I perform my duties, people kind of think that I'm extroverted, but that side of me only really comes out because I have duties where I'm leading. So, but me personally, I'm not very extroverted. And so when I was in that position where I wasn't necessarily in a good environment, I kind of have this quality of myself that, like, where I'm very self aware, and it has its advantages and it also has its disadvantages, right? So it's like I was fully aware of the ways that this environment was changing me, and I think that it was kind of just like breaking me down. And it kind of felt like maybe you're not in a good environment. You know how sometimes you feel like you're on survival mode, that
Mm-hmm.
terminology, survival mode, when you're constantly in a position where you're always stressed out. And I felt like it wasn't bringing out the best in me. It felt like I was
Mm-hmm.
getting really drained, and it affected my relationships too with other people, because I didn't have any more emotional energy to pour into my relationships. But then that was the moment when I realized I had a good support network, because it showed me who really cared for me and who was really willing to be there for me, even though I was at a really low point where it's like I can't even give anything or give much to the people
Mm-hmm.
around me, but here they are still supporting me, still helping me out, still listening to me, right? The ones that you really notice are your good support network. It's the little things. It's the friends that answer your FaceTime calls when you're crying. It's like the random check-ins that your friends do with you, or your friends and family, or moments when maybe you guys are adulting and your schedules don't necessarily align, but they're really making these sacrifices to, meet up and spend quality time. It's the little things that really show to you the people that are willing to make those sacrifices and support you. And I think that that was like kind of my moment where I realized, oh, I have a really good support network, because these people were willing to be
Mm-hmm.
there for me even when I was at a low point and when I was not the best version of myself. And I think not only were those people listening to me, but they were also kind of helping me to be empathetic towards myself, but also to other people as well, helping me to basically just to work on becoming the best version of myself, even though I was in a position like that. I think that we've talked about our experiences, right? And how we have identified a good support network. But what about those, let's just say for the both of you, right? We talked about vulnerability and trust, but that's something that doesn't necessarily just come out of nowhere. It's something that we build upon. And these relationships are also something that we build, right? So, what are ways that you both think you've built your network?
I think there are a lot of ways to build a support network, but I think, the most important thing is to be yourself and to bring, you know, be yourself, and the people who around you will stick. Of course, be a good person, be someone who's inspirational, but you also have to sacrifice, like what you were saying earlier with your question. You have to sacrifice, you have to be there for them, make time for them, fill their cup just as you want them, as well.
Showing up for people and taking your own time, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, not being afraid to sacrifice for someone else. Like, it's so
Mm-hmm.
important, like those little things, those little moments where you show up for someone, and you it can be for anything. Maybe they accomplish something at work or at school, or maybe it doesn't have to be like that, but you show up for them at the airport when they come home or when they're about to leave. Small things like that, they add up to someone. Like, because I know if someone did that for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like, wow, this person is there for me. they
Like the time and
they're
effort. Yeah.
Exactly. They're going like
Mm-hmm.
that extra bit that someone who doesn't care, someone who isn't part of my circle, they wouldn't do that.
And I think from what the both of you have mentioned, right? I think that understanding that it's a mutual relationship is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, well, when I think of ways to build my support network, I think one of the things is really making sure that you maintain consistent communication, right? And sometimes for us, we think, oh, this person doesn't even reach out to me. But how many times do we ask ourselves, have we reached out to this person? Have we checked in
Mm-hmm.
on them, right? Sometimes we have these expectations of what these people around us might be doing for us, but sometimes we also need to stop and reflect on what are we also doing for the other people around us, because we want to
Yeah.
make sure that in as much as the people around us make us feel loved, we also do put in our own efforts to make sure that the people around us feel loved and they also feel supported, because a relationship goes both ways. And
Yeah.
so kind of like understanding that there's some sort of reciprocation that needs to happen is really important when it comes to building that network. And I think that another important thing, let's just say you might not you don't have too much of a network. Let's just say we're talking about a professional setting, right? You're trying to build your network still. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that it's important to put yourself in places that you'll see these people regularly. Sometimes people have that question where, how do I make
Mm-hmm.
adult friends? And we wonder, okay, how did we make friends growing up? We made school friends because we always go to school. Where we made friends in this organization because we're always there, right? And so when it comes to building your network, attending these events, let's just say if we're talking about a professional network, attending these events is really important. Joining groups that align with your interests is really important. And then also making that first step to reach out to people is really important. Maintaining those relationships and having conversations with them and really genuinely being interested in the people around you, it's what's going to help you to build your network, because it's going to be a type of network that helps you to grow, but also learn about yourself and learn about other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really agree with that. I think, like, in high school or in college, those uh, those things that you can do, like extracurricular activities and clubs
Mm-hmm.
and things like sports, um, you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn about a lot about how the kind of people that you want to be around also.
Mm-hmm.
So especially when it comes to church activities, also, it's so easy to find your people because everyone there is there for the same reason, right? Same thing for professional settings. Like, everyone is there to work, but no one wants to work and just go home. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants to
Yeah.
have friends. So it's nice to connect with people. Even at work, at my work, there are people older than me, twice as old as I am, but I still
Mm-hmm.
try to. There's ways to make connections with them, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
sports or things like music, and it just makes that environment that you're in so much more comfortable, and you
Mm-hmm.
find ways to connect with people, and through that you have this network that you can use to build yourself professionally, or even just you have a new friend.
Just to add on to your point, Brother Angelo, one of the things that I wanted to point out or bring up that reminds me is that, especially in a professional setting, don't limit, I would say, the range of your network, because this is one of the things that I learned, especially in my past internship, right? For some of us, we'll go with what's comfortable. So we might reach out to, or our network might just primarily be those that are similar than us or people of similar age. let's just say you're in a work setting. Sometimes your work bestie is going to be someone who's like the closest age to you because that's who you feel most comfortable with. And for me, that was one of my experiences because in my past internship, I was mainly close with fellow interns, people who are like me, people who are going through the same experience as me because that was what felt comfortable. But to build a good network and to really expand your network, try to seek out building connections with people that are different than you, who have different backgrounds than you, might be someone of a different age than you, because that is what will widen your experience. And that's what will also widen your knowledge as well. Because when, especially in moments when you're connecting professionally, it's going to help you to be able to meet more different people as well and just be able to grow a lot further rather than sticking to a network that's just, with people that might be similar than you. So it's always good to venture out as well when you're building connections. So when you are building these connections, right, it's important to also try to find ways to nurture them. So how have you nurtured your network, and how have these habits or practices deepened your relationships with other people over time?
We all have different, hobbies or pastimes or even different interests. And but then there are the few things that, you really connect with. For me and Sister Veronica, actually, she um, is an organist trainee. And so one thing we I would do is I would send her uh, listings of different organs for sale because I want her to succeed. I want her to have the chance
Oh,
to hone her skills and
Not me about cry.
just to be the best that she can be. And so in that small way, I was showing her that I care for her goals. I care for what she cares about. Um, Sooner than not, she would be uh, getting her own organ, and so
I
she has
did
one in her
actually get
house.
my own organ. I think going back to your question, nurturing my relationship, I don't know if this sounds materialistic, but I kind of just not watch them, but I kind of just like listen to them and they'll tell me like, "Oh, I have a problem with this and I have a problem with that. I don't have that." And I'll find every possible way to make their life easier with like buying them like for instance, my friend, he wanted a gift for his birthday, but he didn't know what he wanted, and I was just like, I wonder what I could get him that could be helpful. And I got him something very helpful, and it was a watch, and it was very nice. And I think I benefit with seeing them succeed in a way where I help them.
like it's almost gratifying to just see other people succeed, and especially it feels fulfilling knowing that you were a part of that, like you helped them to succeed. So when I think of nurturing my network and really thinking about what are the habits or the practices that I've developed to deepen my relationship with other people, like what I said earlier, consistent communication is really important, and things like checking in is really important. That aspect of reciprocating is really important when you define them as a good support network because they support you, but also keeping in mind that it's important to support other people as well. I think one thing that I could add that we haven't talked about earlier is regular acts of appreciation. Just showing your network that you appreciate them goes a long way. It's the tiny things like giving them a thank you note or going out of your way to do something for them, maybe buying them a little gift, or maybe it could be something that you could do verbally, like giving them a compliment, or verbally showing your appreciation to them is really important because in a sense I think that will help to really foster stronger connections because it deepens your bond with them. Now that we've talked about how to maintain our network and how to deepen our relationships with other people, I just wanted to talk about why is building a good support network so important? Why do you think it's so impactful in your personal life?
For me, if I didn't have this support network, I wouldn't be where I am because these people who have supported me and gotten me through these moments where I doubted myself, they lifted me up so that I could reach this point. You know, I owe so much to them because their support. Without it, I I don't know where I could be. You know, I might
Mm-hmm.
still be down there, feeling low. Uh, you know, I would not have reached, my best. I wouldn't reach my potential because these people, they saw that potential in me. They helped
Mm-hmm.
me get there. Through
Mm-hmm.
the little things that they do, like showing up for me. That's why I think it's important to have a support network because not just my friends, but my parents, my siblings, my coworkers, my peers at school. Those people, they they see that I can do more, and they
Mm-hmm.
have that high standard of me. They expect good things from me, and because of that, every day I'm am constantly improving because I know I have these people who want to see me do well, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to see them do well.
I think it's important to have not only a support network, but a good support network, you know? Life is very, very lonely and it could get very challenging. But earlier said, Angelica said, it's very easy when you surround yourself with people who genuinely care and love for you. We're living in a generation where the world is constantly growing and we're exposed to so much online, and it becomes very lonely. And having, friends that care for you and remind you, that you're good for them, you're enough.
I think you both brought up really good points, and I just wanted to just add a little bit to both of your responses to this question. And I think one of the things, or one of the importances of building a good support network is it boosts your confidence. When you're surrounded by people who support you, they make you feel good about yourself. They help you to
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself. And I think that's really important, especially when we're growing up in a world where we have so much social media influence, and there might be instances when
Mm-hmm.
we have the tendency to compare ourselves to other people, which is why I think it's so important to be surrounded by a good support network because they can help you to really have that confidence that you need. And also, I think that having a good support network can also act as some sort of safety net because these people can help you to navigate through the good and the easy times in life, but also the low times in life, the really
Mm-hmm.
difficult moments, and they'll help you to be able to face life's challenges with more resilience. And that's what makes having a good support network really important.
I think you could go through so much in life, but even if you just have one friend, like, it's so
Mm-hmm.
nice and it's so much easier to carry on, having a good support system. It doesn't even have to be a whole community. It doesn't have to be, seven friends all. It could only just be one. You could go through so much in life, and having that one person, to listen to you and to genuinely give you advice helps you so much. And I think it's also important to pray about building a good support system. It's important to put in your devotional prayer to have friends that not only support you in your personal life, but also spiritually.
So now that we've talked about the importance of having a good support network in line with INCRadio podcast season theme of turning pages, how has having a good support network helped you to navigate life's changes?
I think having a good support network helped me navigate through life changes in a lot of ways, honestly. I think a big one that has helped me was I was going through a lot these past few weeks with school and with so many responsibilities when it came to um, just personal and life. Having a good support network has helped me through a lot of things in my life, whether it came with my personal life, whether it came with my schoolwork, because it gave me confidence. It gave me confidence. They gave the people around me, my community, they gave me confidence to be myself. And, you know, having that confidence helped me to navigate through so many things in my life.
Well, recently, I just graduated college last
Mm-hmm.
semester, and um, that's a big change for someone to go through because for your
Mhm.
whole life, you're a student, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
I graduate, and then I'm no longer a student. So like that thing that took up so much of my time is not there anymore, and so I have all this time to to find like who I am in this world, find my place in life. I was still looking for work. I was performing all my duties at church. And,
Mhm.
there was still that feeling that, I was looking for something because, when something like school, you're always studying for a test or preparing for your classes, doing your homework.
Mhm.
Um, but these people in my network, they made that transition feel it wasn't so empty. I had people who they wouldn't judge me for not having any money. I didn't have a job yet, you know.
Mhm.
They wouldn't judge me if I didn't have gas in my car, and she would pay. She would pick me up, when I say I wouldn't want to drive, and things like that. It's like, yeah, this person is someone that I can rely on. I can, you know, through life changes, Sister Veronica doesn't change. She's still there for me. But yeah, that's for me. I find that um, although life has its ups and downs, there's these people that no matter what, they're be there for me, and I'll be there for
Mhm.
them because you know, at the end of the day, I want to see these people be their best and do their best in life, and when I do that for them, it brings the best out of me. And so I don't have to worry about, my life as it's changing, as I'm growing. I don't have to worry about ever, getting lost because I have these people that keep me on the right track.
I just wanted to add to Brother Angelo's point because it kind of connects to what I was going to talk about was when we're going through different life stages, let's just say, or chapters in our lives, having a good support network, that network doesn't just automatically disappear, right? So sometimes, like, we have friends in school and then all of a sudden we graduate, right? Good support networks are people who stick with you through the different changes in your life and through the different ways that you change as well, right? So I think that's why um, uh, having a good support network is so helpful in navigating life changes because you have people to rely on no matter what stage in life you're going through. Those people aren't just there to be there for you during a temporary stage in your life, but they're there for you. You make these connections for life, essentially, right? So that's what really makes a good support network really valuable, not just in the present that we're living in, but also in our futures, in the years to come, right? We, especially for us as young as we are, we go through different life stages and we still will go through all these changes, and it's really helpful for our growth to have a good support network that really sticks with us throughout these life stages.
I think having a good support network helps you navigate through life in a lot of different ways when it comes to professional life, your schoolwork, even church life, because the
Mm-hmm.
people that you surround yourself with are the people that you essentially chose. And if you choose good people in your life, they're always going to give you that confidence, whether the project. Angelo is an amazing organist and he helps me in guys, if you guys could see me play on the organ, you guys would give up so bad. He is so patient with me and he teaches me how to be patient with myself. And I wouldn't, even learn that about myself if I didn't have someone like him in my groups, in my support network. So, and he helps me navigate through so much, not only with my organ practices, but even with my personal life, with my feelings. And I have so many people in my life that does that.
So, just to wrap up this episode, of course, we don't want to close off this episode without really emphasizing the Christian values that we um, want to highlight in this episode. So, for a Christian value takeaway, as Christians, we are taught to always surround ourselves with good company. This means people whose values and beliefs align with our Christian faith and people who will influence us to do good. Although there are many different types of networks, we can create professional network, academic networks, and the like. The most important network we can build is one that includes individuals who genuinely love us, support us, and also embody our faith. When we prioritize building a strong spiritual network and a strong relationship with God, we invest in our own spiritual growth. By leaning on one another in faith and relying on God, we can navigate life's challenges together, deepen our understanding of God's teachings, and also strengthen our commitment to living a righteous way of life before our Almighty God. Now, before we close off our episode, do either of you have any greetings that you guys want to give or any shout outs?
I want to shout out Miss Claire Sabas from Seattle, Washington. I love you. She's a part of my support network group. Me and Angelica. She's amazing. I love you.
Yes, we love Claire. We love Claire.
For me, I just want to shout out, everyone in my district of Alaska. I think our district, I'm so proud of it. We're always growing. There's two of us here on INCRadio podcast. It's amazing, So I'm so happy to represent our district like this.
Okay, and that's a wrap for our episode. As always, we love to hear from all of you, so please reach out to us for any comments, questions, or suggestions via Telegram at 0964-243-7380. Because here on INC Radio Podcast, we're here
to hear.
Bye, everybody. See you all in our next episode.
INCRadio.